Well, I'm doing it again. I'm pulling this trim out and going to pull the dash out again to make some more wiring changes. Oh, well, there's a little thing here I want to show you. I've made a little drawing of my trim work so that all the screws go back in exactly the same spot. Well, all of this is out now, and I should probably tell you what I'm up to. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on here. I put a dash cam in lately because I had a few little instances. I've had a few little mishaps on the road, and I just feel more comfortable having a dash cam. So that gets mounted there, and I also have one in the rear there. But to run it, I've been just running it off this little thing here. I'm not too keen on it, to be honest. So I've got myself a better one. I can take that off now. And I've just assembled that out of the packet, pre-wired it up. I'm probably going to change this wire here. Don't like what's going on there. And I've gone and made a couple little mounts for it, which are these things here. Now, I made them up through the week, ground them up, and just gave them a coat of paint. And they're going to get mounted in here. Bit hard to show you there, but that'll get mounted there. Then they'll get bolted onto this, and that'll sit inside here in the glove box. And if anybody's interested, I just got it from eBay. This is the package here, and it cost me about $16 Australian. Now I want to hardwire that in. Maybe I'm not using the proper terminology, but I want to have that on a 12-volt supply permanently so that I can run the dash cam even while the truck is parked. Like I said, at the moment, I've just got that running to this on accessories. I want to change that. So I'm going to run another wire through. While I'm at it as well, I'm going to move this. I've got it running down that pillar and along the back. And I suspect that it might be interfering with the speedo, because sometimes the speedo jumps up and down. Now, it may or it may not, I don't know, but I think it's best right now to move it all. And I'm going to run it from this side up through here and to the center there. That way it doesn't get in the way of any of that wiring of the instrumentation. So I'm going to get into a whole heap of wiring and see if I can't have this finished by the end of the day. It's lunchtime now, and I really want to put this back in the shed tonight. I don't want to be doing this tomorrow. Okay, well, I've got this wire out, and I only had to cut a few loom ties there, and I'll have to replace all those. They run up the back there, and there's that there. So I'll get that back in the rear of the stereo, and now I'll run it up through here, and I'll just tape it all on so that when I put all the trim in, it can just sit where it was before. So hopefully you could have seen there, that was real simple. Bit of mucking around getting to the back of the stereo, but I managed to get in there and just run it around there. Taped it to there and used some gaffer tape and taped it all the way. I've got it just hanging down here, and when I put all that back together again, that can get clipped onto the top trim board. All right, in the meantime of all of that, I got this out. Well, I got this out, and that went just in here. So I'm not going to use that one anymore. In actual fact, I might reuse that for something else. And I'm going to put a wire back down through the kickboard here and down to that junction box I've got on the chassis. So I'll run a red wire there now, and that can run the USB and cigarette lighter junction box. So you would have seen there I had to drill a hole in the firewall and put a little grommet in there. Now I've run some brand new wire here. I was going to run some second-hand stuff I had, but decided, nah, it was probably best to run some brand new stuff. I mean, you go to this much trouble, you might as well. So I've fed that through, and I've got that in the engine bay here. I'll put an eyelet on this, and I'll put it down to that junction box down there. I'll get onto that, and then I'll be able to just pull it back through again, so I'm not wasting a whole heap of cable. Okay, so that wire's done. It's terminated at the end of that junction box in the engine bay. I've run it up through here, and I'm going to put, well, what I'm going to do is cut this fuse off and put it on the end of this wire and get that wire all the way over to there. I'll do that now, and we can then mount the USB box right in there. Well, that's all done. Took a little bit longer than it should have. I had to get a bigger soldering iron, but now that it's done, I'm going to get that all in, route it all up, and get this thing bolted in. So we can see that all bolted in there, and the battery is connected, and we've got power. I like how it lights up blue, the stereo lights up blue, and I should be able to see that it's on when I leave the car. That's pretty bright, that, and there's a bit of a gap between the glove box lid here. I know it shouldn't, but it does, and from the driver's side I can see kind of through the glove box lid if it's closed and see if it's on. I can even see the transmission digital fan switch there when the glove box is closed. Not that I can read the actual numbers, but I can see that it's on. So it's also very rare that I leave the battery on. It's got an isolator switch in the back there, and generally when I do leave the car I actually turn it off, or if I'm parking the car overnight or something I do turn it off. And the dash cam also has a thing on it where if it drops down to a certain voltage it will actually switch off. So even if I do leave it on, I don't think it's a real drama, and I don't think it'll waste the battery while it's on. Like I said, most of the time I turn off the battery anyway on an isolator switch, so I don't think it's going to be any dramas. Alright, there's a few more things I've got to tidy up. I've got to put some loom ties or tie wires everywhere to tidy everything up, and then reassemble the dash and put all the trim back in. And there we have it, all back together again. And I now have this where I can turn it on, even with the ignition off. And my black view should turn on. Maybe.
Black view for your safe driving.
There you go.
Starting normal recording.
There you go, it's on. And after a little while, it will just go into park mode as well. Time to take it for a quick drive and make sure everything's okay. Make sure I've put everything back together again on the dash here. And we'll see if that phone works as well and doesn't get any static through it. And see if the speedo there doesn't bounce. I've got my doubts. I think it still will. I think it's just an Autometer thing. But fingers crossed, it all works. Well, that's a wrap for this video. I hope you'll come and watch me on the next one. See yas!